Hi, I'm Andrew Rich, and if you're like me, you look at the state of modern wrestling discourse and think, wow, what a cesspool. That's why I'm here to tell you about Music of the Mat Remix. That's right, your favorite wrestling music podcast is back with a new format, where I bring on a guest and we play songs related to wrestling-themed topics. It could be a wrestling reference, a wrestling concept, a wrestling pun, things of that nature. Now you might be saying, Andrew, that is a very, very tenuous connection to pro wrestling on a wrestling podcast network. Is this just an excuse to hang out with your friends and talk about music and ignore the rest of the wrestling landscape? Yes. Yes, it is. So listen to Music of the Mat Remix on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, available on Apple, Spotify, or your podcast player of choice.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel and I'm joined by Damon McDonald. It's Tuesday the 7th of April 2026. This is episode 404. Not found!
How did you stop my joke? Sounds like you got a little construction out there. What's going on?
Well, I think it's very important in a relationship to have clear and honest communication. So I said to my wife, me and Damon are going to be recording a podcast at 9 o'clock. Can you make sure everyone is at least getting ready for bed by that time and downstairs?
Right.
And she said, absolutely, no problem. It's 12 minutes past 9 and none of that has happened.
None.
No.
Ring, ring!
Who is it?
It's the tiniest alarm clock in the world.
Ring!
Hello? Who is it? Oh,
See, we can't even extract any good material from this, Damon, because I've got headphones on, so we can't hear what you're saying.
I don't know, Joel. You better get it. Somebody. It's for me. I'm not here. Let's put it this way.
Ring, 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 ring. Ring, 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 ring. 9 o'clock. Ring, 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 ring.
Right. Okay. Listen. I got nothing. Do you ever wonder if it was all worth it, Joel? All the trials and tribulations.
I'm constantly asking myself that.
But they're adorable. Adorable. How's everything going? How's everything else going in your world? Yeah.
Weather's very nice.
Yep.
Very warm, sunny today.
Okay.
We are taking advantage of some of the school holidays deals in restaurants where kids eat free.
Ooh.
So we went to Yo Sushi today, bit of the old kaiten sushi.
Nice.
The quality of the sushi is not particularly good, but you get these kids set meals for free, which are pretty decent quality. So you get like a katsu chicken or katsu prawn with rice and curry sauce, and they call it a high roller bento. So you get the nori seaweed sheets with a bit of rice already layered onto it,
Okay.
and some thinly sliced raw vegetables like cucumber, carrot, red pepper, so the children can make their own little maki rolls.
Oh, that's nice. And that's all.
Watermelon.
Plus the melon.
Watermelon. Big
Oh,
fat
watermelon.
Watermelon. Big
Who
fat
are you calling a
watermelon.
big fat watermelon?
Me.
Arthur, nobody
apparently.
can see you. The camera is not switched on. This is an audio-only podcast. We're not moving into a video podcast. I'm not prepared
No.
to do that.
Big
Me neither.
camera.
Mally, is there any chance of the children going to bed? 1 minute. Okay,
1
wonderful.
minute. So 1 minute. Can you ask him?
No, I don't. Let's not.
No.
Let's
No,
not
don't run
engage in
any
any further
acknowledge-
talk. I'll not finish it. I wanted to talk about something else that I had. So I didn't eat much at Yo Sushi because I didn't want to have to pay for it.
Right.
So what I did have was a delicious Chinese street food special
One of
called
the
One of the wheels is broken, isn't it? Do you know how that happened?
No.
I stepped on it by accident.
That's okay.
Well, thank you for understanding. We can use this as a learning experience, mate, by not leaving your toys on the floor. You know when I'm constantly saying, tidy up your toys?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is so things like this don't happen. Because if you do leave your toys lying around, I might accidentally step on them and break them.
Oh.
Nothing.
No. Just no soul.
What was I talking about? Right, I was talking about my jembing, wasn't I? So it's like a
Yes.
savoury Chinese crepe. And I think there's like 2 kinds of sauce in it. There's like a kind of savoury bean sauce and chili oil. Some egg. So they'll spread the egg on while the crepe is cooking on the hot plate. So the egg kind of cooks on the surface of the pancake.
Okay.
Some spring onion, or as you would call it, scallion in Yankoid land.
Mm-hmm.
Bit of lettuce. And I had a choice of meats. So I was offered pork floss, pork sausage, chicken sausage, ham, or spam. I went for pork floss and pork sausage.
What is
and
floss?
It was delightful.
What is
floss?
pork floss?
Okay. So it's a bit like cotton candy, but made out of meat.
So it's just okay, that's not true at all. How dare you? It's not.
No, it is. That is absolutely what it is.
It's shave it down thin. Like,
I don't know how they make it.
Okay,
that's a really good question. That's something I should look into. But essentially,
can you fix
I will try. I'll try to glue it together, but the wheel probably won't be able to spin. Yeah, it's kind of sweet and savoury at the same time. It's quite unique. If you're ever at an Asian shop in the near future, Damon, you should try and get some because it is quite nice. There's a Thai snack which is really good, which is toast with chili paste, and he's just given me a glue stick. Now I'm going to have to use super glue for that, mate. Chili paste and pork floss. It sounds really weird, but it's nice. It's just one of those things that you kind of get used to. The first time you try it, you're like, whoa, this is bizarre. But then, Sporting went very close with a chance there. This podcast
you are all over the place. You are worse than me right now. I'm just going to be honest with you. You are ADHD pilled right now. You are bouncing. You got 9 different conversations going on in your head.
You want to speak to Damon? Are you actually going to engage with him? You're going to talk to him and listen. All right, I'm handing you.
All right, turn it over. All right, Arthur, what's up, buddy? What's up,
Arthur? You have to speak into the microphone.
Yeah, in the microphone.
Won't be able to hear you.
Yeah, but I want to get my tablet.
We can't see the tablet. You speak into the microphone. This is how Damon and the listeners can hear you.
Yeah.
Big fat watermelon.
Are you calling me a big fat watermelon?
No, my tablet has a big fat watermelon.
Oh, okay. I thought you were calling me one, which wouldn't be too far off the truth. But
I've
nobody
got a city truck.
Oh. All right, let me ask you a question. Do you remember when we went to tea, and we were walking around and we had a chant? What was our chant? What were we always say to each other? You remember? Boring. Remember boring? Boring. I don't think he's. You're not having. This is not a good back and forth going here, buddy. All right, very good. This is like having an interview with Walker Stewart, trying to pull teeth.
Right,
hey,
I'm taking back control of the audio. Right,
good.
Mummy's gone down.
No.
Mummy's gone down to bed. You need to go with her, please.
He's a horrible third wheel. He hasn't a third mic. He hasn't really. There wasn't a lot of give and take there, Joel. I gotta be honest with you.
Damon. Good night.
Hello.
Daddy.
Good night. All right.
Not quite ready to hand the reins over to him just yet.
Yeah.
Got a
little ways to go. All right. So anyway, one, you're cheap as fuck. Getting free meals for your kids for the entire week. I love it. 2, chaos going on. Chaos in that house right now.
Not the heel faction chaos.
No, they were heels. Remember that running? Yeah, remember that bit? That was a great bit.
Who was the Chaos Mole, Damon?
The Chaos Mole? What do you mean?
Do you remember that when Jay White was saying there was a mole in Chaos?
Oh, yeah, that's right. You know who it was? That fucking Yoshihashi.
I knew it was him. I was just going to say that.
He just has that mole-looking face. Always nervous, looking around. Thinks he's going to get dimed out at any moment. This might be the worst opening to a show ever in the history of the show. So we gotta find a way to reel this fucker back in and get going here. Because we got plenty to talk about, Joel. I don't know if you know that. We have a big. Now, do you say Sakura or Sakura, or how do you pronounce the beginning of Genesis? Oh,
it's not even playing at the right bit. So even that is fucked up. This is just an absolute disaster for us. Sakura. Let's go with Sakura.
I like that one too. All right. We have that show. We have the junior Genesis, as I like to call it. Plenty to talk about after we pissed away 10 minutes of audio.
Quick pluggeroo for Patreon.
Yes.
Launched a new series called Subscriber Select, where patrons can select a wrestling match from any promotion, any year, and then we talk about it. I've done 2 episodes so far. I did 1 episode with Daryl, and we talked about Katsuri Shibata versus Kyle O'Reilly from King of Pro Wrestling 2016.
Okay.
And I did an episode with Elliot Imes, one half of the Super Dagcast, where we discussed... What did we discuss? Sting versus Rick Rude from WCW in 1991.
Yeah. Okay. Can I recommend Glow? The gorgeous ladies of wrestling. That was a. Did you get? You didn't get Glow over there, did you?
No.
Oh boy. See, so
another potential bit that's gone in the toilet.
It's not, but I will say this: like back in the day, your let's say your memories to masturbate to, or few and far between. You really didn't have pornography. Well, you had it, but it was hard to come by, mind you. So you had to do what you had to do by creative means. And I will say this gorgeous ladies of wrestling was probably one of those things, because my parents would leave and go food shopping. And once the car pulled away from the driveway, it was like, all right, let's see what's on. It was like Soul Train. I can't talk about masturbating with the kids here. Joel, what am I going to can't do this. But Glow was definitely material to use. Hollywood and Vine, if I'm not mistaken, was one of them. I'm sure they'd be thrilled to know that a guy masturbated to them while they were pouring their heart out in their pro wrestling promotion. But, yep, that's the honest to God truth. Sorry.
Goal! Get in! What a beauty from Martin Zubamendi.
Let's go.
Come on, let's go. Let's go. Still on, Damon. The double's still on. Oh, I better not be checking it for some sort of infringement, or I'm going to be really cross.
Offside.
Oh, man, if this gets ruled out, there's been so much rubbish in this podcast. That's the one thing I will go back and remove in post. I will tell Dan, like, all the other stuff, all the other nonsense that's going on.
Leave it in.
It's definitely offside. It's offside. Oh, my God. Yeah, Gyökeres was offside. Idiot. He was miles off.
Come on. We need some good luck here. We need some fortune. I saw some comments mentioning people loving your Arsenal breakdowns. Not mental breakdowns, but breaking down where we are, what's happening. People are into it, dude.
Really?
People are riding with you. I'm just saying.
I've not seen any of that. I think it's annoyed people.
Really?
All I get is snarky comments in the Discord from rival fans who
really.
Yeah.
Do you need me to hop in there and ban anybody?
Oh, Damon.
What?
It's ruled out. It was offside. It was such a good hit as well.
You're going to get another one
Lord.
like less than 5 minutes from now. You'll bank one. Guarantee it. Come on. Here's what I don't like about this. A little confidence from Joel will be nice. A little confidence. Get a little pep in your step. Get a little swagger. You've earned this. Come on.
That was a negative. And right now, I need 2 positives.
Okay. Well, you're going to get a goal in the next 5 minutes, and then I'm here. So there's a positive right there.
Okay, there we go. That's leveled things up immediately.
All right. Take us away. Where are we going? Come on,
Shall we go
Joel. ADHD Joel's not my favorite. I got to be honest with you.
Oh, I'm supposed to be the reliable one, aren't I?
It's
not happening today. Let's go to... Now, before we go to Sakura Genesis, to get there, Damon, you need to travel there. And the best way to travel to Sakura Genesis is on the road to Sakura Genesis.
Oh, yes.
So that's exactly where we're going to go.
All right. Get on the road.
I'm going to talk to you about Road to Sakura Genesis from Korakuen Hall, which still does not have pyro.
I've heard.
Despite my insistence.
Right.
Again, I'm fed up with the excuses. I want Adam Copeland, a.k.a. Edge, doing his full entrance in Korakuen Hall.
Right.
The whole curtain off, just fireworks blasting into the ceiling, bouncing off the roof, going in.
Fingers scattering like it's Bruiser Brody, cutting through the crowd, just fire going everywhere. Oh, it's on the 5th floor, Joel. That's going to be a hazardous situation. Please. Do you remember when there was an earthquake on a show? I think it was Young Bucks against somebody, and they fucking locked on a headlock and lied on that mat.
No, I didn't see that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that was good. I remember that. I
mean, not hilarious if it's a bad earthquake, but
it wasn't that bad. But I mean, it was a shaker. Like, I think Kevin Kelly was there. Speaking of, I think he was on commentary. He's like, I think there's an earthquake right now. He's like, I'm going to poop my pants. I think it was Young Bucks. I want to say it might have been like Rocky and Trent, maybe. I could be dead wrong. But
Are you sure it wasn't the fans so invested in
stomping their feet?
Roppongi Vice that they were stomping their feet.
I don't know. Again, I don't know if it was 100% Roppongi Vice, but I do vividly remember Young Bucks just grabbing a headlock, boop, right on the mat, and they were just kind of looking around like, "Ooh, fuck, we're moving. The ring is moving." All right, sorry about that. All right,
Korakuen Hall. People are telling me off for that. People are not into the idea.
No.
What? I've got a lot of dude. Korakuen isn't Korakuen too small for pyro?
Oh.
We don't need pyro to enjoy a wrestling show. They aren't going to spend that kind of money on pyro. Why are people so negative, Damon?
I know. Jeez. I mean, were they legitimate responses you got to that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I just sort of trying to do.
People are so dumb.
Just find where the bottom of the barrel is.
Oh, you found it right there.
Not found. No, I think it can get worse than that. I think I could probably tweet something like New Japan wrestlers should use firearms with live ammunition in matches. And I'd have people finger wagging me saying, well, that doesn't sound very safe or sensible, Joel.
Right. You should have Gabe Kidd get on the mic and be like, I'm going to eliminate an entire population. No, that wouldn't work either. That would be totally... I had
fucking Gideon Gray in the mentions saying, why do you want Korakuen burnt down?
I think he was joking, though, don't you think? Like, he's in on the bit a little bit. Come on. What did that stem from? That stemmed from like somebody who said like how New Japan could be more popular or something like that, or more like WWE or some shit.
Yeah,
is that where that was from?
It was episode 97 of the Super J Cast, my favorite episode, which was as soon as all the shows got cancelled. It was right after the Nakanishi retirement show where we did an episode, and I remember I did it on the floor of my sister-in-law's apartment. This is when Maddie was days away from giving birth to Esther, and we just had nothing to talk about. So I found an article that was 10 things that New Japan could learn from WWE.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You were not keen on doing it, but it gave birth to the moment where I nearly wet myself recording the show. There was a line about entrances, about how New Japan's entrances are rubbish, and it said something like, mostly they stumble out from behind a hallway, sometimes 4 at a time. A line that still makes accurate. You laugh.
That is kind of accurate. It's just not for nothing. It is. I do love that. That was a chef's kiss piece. That was really just hard hitting. Great job. Excellent. I mean, and then I guess you'd have to, maybe not have to, but it would be like if you're a long time listener, and God, why would you be? But if you got to be a long time listener to get the bit, right? To get, and then follow you on Twitter and everything, right? So
yeah, it's the deep lore of the Super J cast. I'm telling stories here, Damon.
Yeah, right. I mean, it is just amazing. It's amazing how knuckleheady people are, but just the bottom of the barrel. All right.
Junior Genesis.
Junior Genesis.
There was a IWGP Junior Tag Championship match, Damon.
There was.
Where the champions, Robbie X and Taiji Shimori, defeated the challengers, Jacob Austin Young and Francesco Akira.
Yeah.
And this was wonderful. I enjoyed this a lot. It was 18 minutes, 11 seconds. Robbie X getting the pin over Jacob Austin Young after the X Express. And I'm just so happy that these belts are away from House of Torture so we can get some proper, honest to God, good, old-fashioned junior tag style wrestling. And I said going into this one that I hoped it would be chip on the shoulders, the match, for guys going out there with a point to prove. And that turned out to very much be the case. I liked the way that there was this story built around Robbie X and Jacob Austin Young having this kind of mini feud about Jacob Austin Young being pissed that Robbie X took what Jacob felt was his spot in last year's Best of the Super Juniors, and he was really angry about that. And I would say, as we talked about before today, one of the benefits of guys like Clark Connors and Kevin Knight and Hiromu Takahashi leaving the company is it means these weird little guys like Robbie X and Jacob Austin Young can get a chance, and you give them a chance, and they've absolutely delivered here. I mean, a few dicey moments earlier, and a couple of botches to start with. There's a bit where he absolutely flattened Akira with a moonsault, and there was an assisted move that went tits up. But I like the creativity, and I think it kind of stands to reason, even within like the kayfabe sense of the match, that their new tag moves might be a bit sloppy because, they've not had years and years to work on them and polish them. And that's kind of the aura of Robbie X, because he does come with that sort of classic babyface high flyer energy, despite looking like a strange little goblin baby. But the crowd absolutely love him. They're like, Robbie E chants. And there's just a kind of a maybe wobbliness to Robbie X's high spots, which I find kind of endearing. He's not got that, flawless, smooth athleticism and execution of, someone like a prime Will Ospreay. And that adds a layer of danger and a layer of drama to the match. It's like you feel he's just as likely to land on his head, which makes it fun and exciting to watch. And so he was tremendous. I think Taiji Shimori, I've been saying for a while, I think he's really upped his game and is working hard. He's busted out some moves I haven't seen or haven't noticed before. There was a shoulder buster, which looked tremendous, where he dropped, I forget who it was, but dropped him onto his knee. He did a nice little cartwheel move. He's taking this seriously, right? He's not phoning it in at all. He's still working his usual shoulder-based style, but he's got a fresh new arsenal. He's got all these new moves. He worked the submissions with a lot of intensity and urgency. So it was just like a classic junior tag match. They all got the memo about where we're at in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and all four of them, they all look pissed off, which was great. Akira with his new sort of heel persona, where he's just a bit unhinged. He was biting Robbie X's arm. I mean, that might seem like a weird spot, but it sold this new edge that he's got and his absolute desperation to win. Like he's, tapped into this kind of animalistic fury in his efforts to win the junior tag titles and make something out of this power vacuum in New Japan. And I thought Jacob Young was really good as well. He didn't do anything flashy. I mean, a lot of the story of the match revolves around him getting isolated from Akira, but I thought Jacob Young was also a really important base because his sense of timing and positioning, I thought, in this match were impeccable and really crucial in matches like this because so many high-flying spots that could easily go wrong. Like if you go back and watch those spots, he's central to all of them, which shows how much of a solid hand he is at this. And, not just as an offensive wrestler, but also for things like that. So yeah, all in all, I thought it was tremendous. I love this match.
Best match of the night for sure, I thought. And we kind of walked into this thinking it had the potential to be. And you're right, it did feel like a lot of those guys had a little bit of a chip on their shoulder to kind of be like, okay, this is my I got the ball moment. Let me cash in. Let me show you what we got. You mentioned something, and it was one thing that I absolutely thought stood out. I'm glad that you brought it up. And that is Taiji Ishimori. And to me, he is a guy that wears his I give a fuck on his sleeves. Like it's plain as day, clear as crystal when he's motivated and he's into shit and when he's not. And this time it felt like he was. And it feels like he's been almost re-energized and this might be like version 4 of re-energized Ishimori. And it's like, you could sit here and say, all right, well, what else can you do with the fucking guy? The guy has done everything. And what's the, how do you pivot to the next thing for him? But he finds a way to even when you think he's swimming upstream and he's got nothing to do and he's just kind of latched on to a thing, when he's motivated and he has fresh blood and fresh opponents and fresh matchups, he comes up with fresh ideas. Like that's one thing I absolutely appreciate about him. Like he not that he's fucking David Bowie reinventing himself, but he finds little hooks and little angles and little things to get you, or at the very least, to get himself juiced up to have a good go at it. As opposed to, I'm always going to be at an even keel level 5. He finds ways to give you 8s and 9s every once in a blue moon. And I don't know, that kind of keeps me on my toes. Because trust me, it's very easy for me to go into it and be like, all right, well, what the fuck else is this guy going to do? Like, what other tricks does he have up his sleeve? And then he finds a way to make things interesting and finds ways to make someone care. I think that's probably his best gift, really, is the fact that he has, dare I say, multiple gears. Is that I don't even know if that's the how I'm going to label it, but let's call it multiple gears, where when he's motivated, he just fucking locks in. I really like that about him. Now, the other side of the coin is that when you get an unmotivated Taiji Ishimori, you're just kind of, it's like but you see it, you feel it. I think there's a strange sense of appreciation I have for that. I thought the other guys did very well. Robbie X did well. I thought United Empire did fine. Not more than fine. They did very good. But I don't know. I just found him, Ishimori, to be, I'm not even going to go so far as to say the standout. No, I'll call him the standout, but not for like the traditional, yes, he was the guy that was everywhere on the mat. And he was there, doing shit that you want, I don't know if that's the case, but he was, I don't know, he just felt like he was locked in. And that made the match feel a little bit more important as well.
Then afterwards, we had Kosei Fuji to come out. So he and Robbie Eagles will be challenging again. That will be on the 25th of April. Ichiban Sweet Boys against Ishimori and Robbie X. A match, it's a rematch. I think they wrestled fairly recently. I don't really have any qualms about them getting a rematch this quickly. They've not necessarily earned it in kayfabe, but we're in a spot at the moment with this junior tag division where it needs to be rebuilt following the horrendous reign of Sho and DOUKI. So I don't mind just having like the same three really good teams just facing each other, rematching each other in different combinations. I'm A-okay with that, and I think that upcoming title match would be excellent.
Yep, if you have the right teams, it works, and I kind of feel like it's that, and like even like the heavyweight is kind of in that same booking mix of let's just have 3 or 4 hot teams and let's just fucking rotate them around a little bit. And I do kind of like that. I do. You don't need to have 8 teams. You need to have 3, 4 solid ones and just fucking rotate. It's fine.
The main event of this show was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. DOUKI successfully defending against Yo, 21 minutes and 1 second via suplex de la Luna. I do have my little notepad open when I watch these things, Damon, and write down things that pop into my head that might be interesting talking points. I've really got nothing for this one.
Blank piece of paper, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I think it was about the best we could have hoped for, given the kind of reign that DOUKI's having and the kind of matches that are being executed with all the House of Torture shenanigans. The only memorable thing was the Fujoshi bait with Sho and Yo having a big kiss in the closing stretch of the match. And I did enjoy that, getting that picture of Tanahashi's just wincing with disgust.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had a match. I was kind of getting into it by the end because there was so much stuff happening that I thought, oh, Yo's going to win. But then he didn't win. So I was like, oh, God, Christ. I'm going to have to suffer at least one more DOUKI House of Torture junior heavyweight title match. The Tiger Mask came out to challenge, which was interesting. Didn't make best of the Super Juniors as we thought, but they're going to get one more title challenge out of him. So yeah, I'm into that. I think there'll be good crowd dynamics for that one. At least I think that might be one of the situations where the House of Torture stuff works. But yeah, do you have anything you'd like to say about Yo versus DOUKI?
Like this match. And it wasn't even the match per se, but it was everything around it that kind of encapsulates a lot of frustration over the past 5 years of New Japan Pro Wrestling, where you have DOUKI, who at one time people were salivating and were just completely that fucking train was overflowing with passengers. And now it's like you can't fast forward quick enough. And then you have Yo, who, along with Sho, might be the biggest disappointments in the past 5 years, 7 years. Like when they went on excursion, I think everyone just couldn't wait to see them come back, and what great things we would get out of Sho and Yo. And instead we got guy who makes funny faces and guy who wishes he was in Radiohead. Just boo and boo. The match was look, I'm sorry. Yo stinks. I can't get into it. I'm sorry. And if you're a person who can't wait and sits on the edge of your fucking chair for Yo, God bless you. God bless you. You know what? That's why there's vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry ice cream, I guess. Yo is just instant fucking get up the street. He's not even in. Just skip. He's in skip mode because he does absolutely nothing for me. Zilcho, and that, my friends, might be one because if you remember back, I was probably, and I wasn't alone. The mountaintop was packed. We were all screaming at the top of it, and goddamn, just what an absolute, just nothing. I can't get excited. I can't get into it. And again, he's just skip for me.
So you're not going to be watching the upcoming DDT special with him and Antonio Honda, then I take it.
I'll tell you flat out, there's not a fucking chance in hell I'll be watching it. Zero chance. None.
I will. I'll watch it. I think he's actually more entertaining in DDT. I think DDT is a better medium for his
then go to DDT
talents. He should.
Then go. Nobody's stopping him. It's not like they're holding the fucking. Please don't leave. No, they'll drive him to the fucking arena. I'll drive
DDT of Coach Yo. Oh no, not Yo.
Seriously, go, please, by all means. I'll fucking I'll drive you. You don't have to put in gas money. I'll take you. Fuck him.
It makes me sad how the junior title has just been locked in this malaise for so long. From the Despy run, Despy Hogan, as people are calling him, and now the DOUKI run. It's just not good news, but hey.
Well, New Japan can't do more than one thing at one time. You know what I mean?
No, that's right. Yeah, they've only got so many good ideas. If they're putting good ideas into one or two divisions, then that means the rest of the divisions are going to be put like absolute dog water.
Yep, and I would say 2 is even stretching it a little thin, but yep, you're right. Yep.
So that will take us to Sakura Genesis itself from Ryogoku Sumo Hall. We had a bit of chat last week, Damon, about what would be a good attendance number for this. So the previous Sakura Genesis Sumo Hall shows were... Sorry, I paused there because Sporting had a very good chance there. There's 86 minutes played. I think I'd take the 0-0 draw at this point. I think it's important for Arsenal not to get overexcited and overcommit trying to get a goal. I think you take the draw here, hold the shape, be sensible, be boring, and just, take the 0-0 back to the Emirates with a home leg. But, so the previous shows had been around 6,500. So this fell short of that. This was 6,009. But, as we discussed last week, I think that's a pretty decent number, all things considered. Yes. Again, we talked about it last time. They took a big risk here in putting Callum Newman into the main event. They could have got a bigger number by playing it safe, by putting, Zack or Goto or even someone like what's his name? Shota Umino. They could have put any number of people to try and get a large number of that, but they didn't do that, and I think that's respectable. And without the names that were on last year's Sakura Genesis show, so no Tanahashi, no Naito, no Hiromu, I think they did. This is pretty good. They're establishing new stars, and that will result in short-term hits. But I think 6,009 is encouraging.
Yeah, I sat here last week and said I think we'll probably land in the 5,500, maybe even lower. Between 5,000 and 5,500, right? And the fact that we were at the 6 point, I'll take that as a win. I'll take 6,000 as a win. Got no problem with that. And you're right. If it remaining like at a 6,000 bar, very similar to what we've done previous years. We're in the ballpark at least. Yeah, you can't complain about that, especially on a show like this where it did feel like we're trying to establish names again. We with the consecutive shows of that, and we're rebuilding. We are rebuilding and making stars, and I think that's an important thing.
So there was a kickoff match with Masatori Yasuda and Kushida against Taisei Nakahara and Tatsuya Matsumoto. I didn't see this one. Did you see this one?
No.
No, first match then was Kosei Fujita and Hartley Jackson defeating Master Wato and Togi Makabe. So Hartley Jackson pinned Togi Makabe after 7 minutes and 2 seconds following the Jagged Edge. I was quite excited. I forgot to mention this last week. I didn't really pay attention to it, that this match contained what I think might be my favourite junior pairing at the moment, which is Wato and Fujita. And I think they're in the same block for best. They are in the same block for best of the Super Juniors. And I was wondering that sort of interactions between them was featured in the best of the Super Juniors footage. I was thinking, could this be a possible final or semi-final? Probably people will disagree with that because they won't like the idea of Master Wato going deep in the tournament. But this match didn't really feature that rivalry that heavily at all. We didn't really see much of that pairing, which was a bit disappointing. But I did notice the exaggerated bowing from Fujita to Wato at the end of the match, which was very funny. I want more of that, Fujita being a prick. But yeah, most of the match was Hartley Jackson and Togi Makabe, the big, slow, strongman stuff, which was very fun. It was like a goal! Have we nicked it?
There you go.
Havertz in stoppage time. Get in! Come on, Arsenal!
No offside, right?
We have been a bit rubbish today, but we have nicked a win, and that should be that. We should be going through to the semi-finals. Famous last words, but yeah, that is huge. That is a fantastic result. Yes, come on. But yeah, I enjoyed Makabe and Hartley Jackson wrestling each other in slow motion. It was a bit like classic episode of Power Rangers, where you'd have the Megazord having a scrap with whatever Rita Repulsa's Monster of the Week was. But yeah, it was interesting that they gave this win to Hartley Jackson. I'm curious what you think of him, like what his ceiling could be, because I think sort of never six-man champion is about it. Maybe you could do some heavyweight tag stuff with him. I love Hartley Jackson, and I think he's a tremendously valuable person to have on your roster, not just in ring, but for sort of coaching and mentoring, that kind of stuff as well. Because from what I understand, he's very hands-on backstage and helping the youngsters put the matches together and giving advice and stuff like that. But I'm not one of these people. And again, I really enjoy his in-ring stuff. I thought he does really good stuff on the undercard, and especially like the G1 undercards. He was the heart and soul of that. It was really good stuff. But I'm not one of these people that's like, I want Hartley Jackson in the G1. I don't even think Hartley Jackson wants to be in the G1. So I'm just curious what you think his ceiling is from an in-ring standpoint. And yeah, if you have any other thoughts on the match.
I think we're looking at, well, first of all, let's consider this. The guy's not, it's not like this is rookie 20-year-old. We can, we have a long-term bright future ahead, right? This is more of a, relatively near future kind of, I won't even say prospect. I'm thinking, I think the easy answer is never, never title. Bracket, TV title, possibly, a cup of coffee with that. I don't think everybody has to win a title. Everybody doesn't have to be strapped up and be leaned on to be in main events. I think he plays his role just fine of being a fucking big, tough, monstery. You're gonna have to get through this fucking tank to get through. Like a faction gatekeeper, so to speak. What Fale should be, right? And as opposed to what, he's doing wrestling who. But yeah, I think he's in that level in that world. I like the match. Let me ask you. The one thing that I had down was. Does a pinfall over Togi Makabe in the year 2026? Does that carry any weight still? Like, I know everybody's going to come, wow, he's on cooking show and like morning TV, you know what I mean? But is that holding any weight? Like, does that hold any weight to anybody anymore?
No, I don't think it's necessarily pinning Togi Makabe. I'm just thinking about it in terms of a big show at Sumo Hall, opening match, that he was picked to get the pinfall, not
Right.
Fujita or Wato, especially when we're in build up to Best of the Super Juniors.
Does that then? Let me ask you this: does that kind of stamp his "you're in G1"?
No, I
It
don't.
doesn't.
No, not at all.
What the percentage do you think he's in? Or not?
I have no idea what it is. 5%.
5%. What would you think I'm insane if I told you I think he's in?
Wow. Yeah, that would be surprising. I think if we're looking at a 20-man field and we're looking for the ins and the outs, I would struggle to make a case for Hartley Jackson being in there.
You're not putting in Fale, right? You're not putting in. I guess Chase is in, right? Like, again, we will have this conversation.
No,
later.
why are you saying Chase is in?
I mean, he seems to be getting opportunities, right?
Okay, well, let's look. So last year, are we going to do this now? So last year, A Block, we had Oleg Bolt in, so he'll still be in. Evil will be out. David Finley's out.
Right.
Callum Newman's in.
Right.
Oiwa in.
Right.
Sanada possibly in.
Depends on who you think is. Okay.
The masked man.
Right.
So I'm going to say in. Taichi. I don't know about Taichi. I think Taichi comes ahead of Hartley Jackson and Chase Owens. Tanahashi's out, so that's 3 definite out. Tsuji, Uemura, ELP, Gabe Kids. I don't know about him. Driller, Ren Narita, Greater Khan, Zack Sabre Jr., Shingo Takeshita. He could still be in. Shota Umino, Yoshihashi. He would be borderline. You'd think so. That's 3 that are definitely out. I'm not taking any of those borderline ones out for Hartley Jackson or Chase Owens now that you've said it.
Okay.
We've got to have Yuto-Ice and OSKAR in. Agreed?
Do we?
Well, if we're looking for people to put in, they would come way ahead in the queue than someone like Hartley Jackson.
Really? Okay.
I think they're in. And you'd imagine Aaron Wolf has got to be in as well. So that's 3 off the top of my head. And, I've heard rumors of AEW guys participating. Henare, who's back from injury. Jake Lee's back. You'd imagine they're in as well.
Would you take Jake Lee or Jackson?
I'd take Jackson in a heartbeat, but we're thinking what will happen, not what we want to happen.
True. I don't know. I think he's in. I do. I think he's in. And I think that win might have been the stamp in his passport to get in. I mean, I could be dead wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. And again, this is not like we have the blocks or we have participants or any of that shit sitting on our lap and we're just doing a bit. It wouldn't shock me. It really wouldn't. Okay. Anyway, first match, he gets the win. Significant. Yes. And we can leave it at that if you want.
Second match was Robbie X, Taiji Shimori, and Shingo Takagi defeating Jacob Austin Young, Francesco Akira, Jake Lee. So Shingo pinned Jacob Austin Young, 8 minutes, 11 seconds. Last of the Dragon. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. There was a very funny camera cut in between the first match and the second match to Walker Stewart and Chris Charlton sing somewhere near the ceiling in Sumo Hall. I feel bad for them.
I'm waiting for him to be sitting on his couch a la Dave Meltzer.
Yeah, so I was kind of half paying attention at this point. It's the second match on the card. It's not getting my full attention, but so Francesco Akira came. So Jake Lee came out with his clown infrastructure, and then Francesco Akira was coming out with him, and then they did the nickname for Francesco Akira. Do you know what Francesco Akira's new nickname is?
Oh, you know what? I saw it. Give me it because I'll be here all day.
So it's Crown Fire, right?
Crown Fire, okay.
Like crown as in crowns up and fire because he was the fireball bruciare. So, but when they said Crown Fire, I thought that was Jake Lee's nickname. I thought his new nickname was Clown Fire. So then I said Crown Fire. I was like, wow, that's good. Jake Lee, Clown Fire. I like it.
I love when you're kind of half paying attention to shit and you're like, wait, what? You had to rewind it.
Yeah, Jake Lee just looks preposterous now. This was quite a fun match. Shingo looked pissed in a good way, which, we know in hindsight, this was heating up for a world heavyweight title match in the future. And he beat the crap out of Jacob Austin Young, who is a great bumper. Took some very good bumps in this match. So yeah, second match, absolutely good.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, Jake Lee's. We should really think about putting that whole experiment to rest at this point. It's just not happened for me. And it seems to progressively be getting worse. I know people want to like clutch at very, very thin tree branches when it comes to Jake Lee and his value. Like, the gimmick stinks. The whole there's really not. Like, he's falling like a rock. It's not good. Surprised at Shingo, or is this what we like to call the safe defense?
You'd have to think so, yeah. I mean, we'll come on to it later, but I wonder if there's a little bit of symmetry being aimed for with regards to Will Ospreay's first run, where he defended it against Shingo at Dontaku 5 years ago, which was an incredible match, like absolutely brilliant. Very, very different to the Best of Super Juniors one that they had. So I wonder if that was the thought process behind it. But yeah, I think it's just a vehicle for Callum to have a nice, I'm not going to say easy first title defense, but a crowd-pleasing first title defense that can get the best out of him.
Right. Excellent opponent, a guy who can fucking go. Both complement each other, I would think, very well. A guy who knows his way around a ring. And both, that's not a shot at Callum at all. But again, we're talking about barring injury, it would be incredibly difficult for them to have a bad match. So yeah, I think we're in good hands for successful defense number one.
The third match was Toriano, Tiger Mask, and Aaron Wolf against Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Sho, DOUKI, Don Fale. Aaron Wolf got the win, pinning Kanemaru. It was a submission, wasn't it? Submission over Kanemaru, 7 minutes, 12 seconds with a reverse triangle choke. So, yeah, nice bit of heat up sneak preview for the Tiger Mask and DOUKI interactions. And Aaron Wolf looked really good here. And all the people crying and shitting their pants over his booking need to settle the fuck down. Just pay attention to how Aaron Wolf is booked in the big shows, right? So here, he gets the win, destroys all the House of Torture geeks, and what did he do? Like an Olympic slam on Fale afterwards, and he's going to face Fale on the Dontaku tour. Let me see exactly when that is. It's on the first night of Dontaku, so 3rd of May. They're going to have a singles match, as I predicted, after he eliminated him from the New Japan Cup. But look, this is Sakura Genesis, big show, Sumo Hall, and Aaron Wolf looks like a killer. So just settle down, right? He looks good here, and I think this is what they're going to do on the big shows. Like, don't pay attention to the fucking Road 2s and all the B shows and early rounds of the New Japan Cup. No one's watching that. Only us losers are watching that. Just look at what happens in the big matches.
I understand, but still, it was. All right. I'll take your advice. I'll clam up and watch the big shows with him and not pay attention to all the rest. It was worrying. I was scared.
I was going to make a comparison to how Arsenal are handling one of their young up-and-coming stars, this kid called Max Dowman, who's 16 years old, and he had his first goal for Arsenal a few weeks ago, and like massive hype about him, and his youngest ever Premier League goal scorer, just like huge amounts of hype and all these think pieces like, is he going to be the next superstar for Arsenal in England? And I think the next match after that, he wasn't even in the squad, and he didn't feature for the next few games, because I think that was Mikel Arteta, the manager's just sort of trying to keep him out of the limelight and just let things settle down a bit and let him, get his feet back on the ground and get back to basics. And I do think there are some parallels to Aaron Wolf here, where, you have the big explosive debut and everyone's talking about him, and then you just sort of gently settling things down and making sure he's getting back to basics and getting that pro wrestling education, which he absolutely needs. Because again, like people forget, whilst he is a big judo star, he is a rookie professional wrestler. So I think we all need to manage our expectations here. I am the lone voice of reason when it comes to Aaron Wolf. And I know I'm on an island. Like every other fucker who's got a microphone will be screaming from the rooftop saying this is promotional malpractice. And I understand why they're saying that. But I will happily be the only person saying, no, this is sensible and they should carry on.
All right. I think people were not looking for sensible. People are looking for now. I get it. Because we didn't have stars and all that shit and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if we've mentioned this. If we did, just to say I answered this and move on. Does Evil leaving change that trajectory for Aaron Wolf in the sense of does he get that clean, dominant win at Wrestle Kingdom if Evil's not leaving?
Yeah, I think he would still get that win because Watanabe is a pro's pro.
I would agree with that as well. All right, very good. Next match.
We got the best of the Super Juniors blocks announced. We got the final 2 participants. So Nick Wayne, I mean, I rolled my eyes at that one. He was okay last year, but I didn't really think he was that.
He's fine.
Exceptional for him to bring back for a second year. I've got nothing against AW people being in best of Super Juniors. I wanted someone different. I wanted someone new, but he's back. I mean, that's fine, whatever. And Jun Kasai, the surprise final entrant. Yeah, really shocking because I don't know if I've actually watched the Jun Kasai match that wasn't a death match. So I'm curious to see, one, how he's booked. Like, is he going to have a winning record? Is he going to be in play in the latter stages of the tournament? And 2, what he is like when he's just wrestling regular matches. You know, what does Jun Kasai versus Monster Wato look like?
Right. Yeah. And maybe it's one of those situations where it's, he doesn't change and everyone else has to adapt. So maybe we kind of get a little sandpaper, as we like to say, on some of these guys that might desperately need that. I thought that was one of the cooler things of the entire show. Just adding that, like, he stands out like a fucking sore thumb, right? But he stands out in a very good way, and he's got plenty of name recognition. You heard the crowd. The crowd was like, "Whoa!" What? Which again is always fun. I am curious as to how he's going to be booked and how those matches are going to look, and like the elements that he brings to the table. Like, that's not gonna lie. Like, it added a lot of extra spice to a tournament. I was a fan of that move.
So we got the blocks. Now, A block is Masawato, Taguchi, Fujita, Robbie X, Francesco Akira, DOUKI, Titan.
Yeah, nice.
It's all small. Sorry, I need to make it bigger. Valiente Jr., Nick Wayne, and Jun Kasai. And B block is El Desperado, Kushida, Yo, Robbie Eagles, Taiji Shimori, Jacob Austin Young, Sho, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Hyo, and Daisuke Sasaki. So Ben says, how happy are you with the best of Super Juniors lineup? Who would you bring in? I'm just bummed that Dragon Dyer isn't involved. So that was an interesting one. I half expected him to be in, but then when I saw that big press release from Dragon Gate and the whole thing sounded a bit messy, and from what I understand, Dragon Dyer just like no-showed the back half of a tour. Like it sounded quite unprofessional the way he handled things. But New Japan typically, if they're making new signings, they typically debut towards the back half of the year. So I do expect him to be joining New Japan, but yeah, not for best of Super Junior. So later on in the year, I suppose. And I was a bit not miffed, but surprised that he and Kukai weren't in this lineup. But again, I'm sure they will appear later on in the year. I think it's an interesting lineup. There's a few people that I've not seen wrestle. I've not seen much Daisuke Sasaki. I've not seen Hyo. I've not seen a huge amount of Valianto Jr. I really like what I saw in Fantastic and Mania. So I'm curious to see, a lot of unknowns here for me, which is exciting. I like that. I'm really happy that Titan is back. We're going to get the Titan Master Wato rematch. We're getting my favorite match, Master Wato against Fujita. That'll be happening in the blocks. I think Robbie X versus Sakura could be really good. So certainly A block is looking like the more exciting one to me at the moment. The B block is all your sort of dependable guys, but nothing that's really got my heart racing. Apart from Yo versus Sho, who I think they're probably just going to wank each other off in the middle of the ring.
It's going to fuck in the middle of the
Some
ring.
people will enjoy it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah, A block's looking quite sexy. How are you feeling about this line? Have you got any sort of early thoughts on who you think might win, who your finalists might be?
Well, one, I liked it a lot. And again, I don't know, I felt like every year, again, I like Teton's involvement. I like I like there are people that have to lose, right? So you would assume that, like, is it Nick Wayne would be losing probably more than he's winning, right? And again, I feel like that's a real solid reason why he's there. Maybe not other people are. No, I think it feels. I mean, again, you have Taguchi. He'll be losing a lot, I would assume. But for all the fucking eye rolling of Taguchi, he does have it where, once or twice a year he's able to fucking have a really solid match, if not borderline really fucking good match. But I'm sure you'll get 85% goofy comedy, and then he'll fucking toss one out that'll knock our socks off. No, I was okay. I was okay with this. I was more than okay. I was pretty excited by it. I think Kushida will probably be, losing more than winning. But I think it's, we'll probably see like a lot of the usual suspects near the top. United Empire more than likely featured prominently. House of Torture more than likely featured prominently. Your Tetons will be middle of the road. Yeah, I'm just very curious as to how they book like a lot of the Japanese outsiders. Those are the ones that are always like the wild card for me. Like I always like it when they go on runs and it gets a little scary. Thinking,
are you shocked that Dragon Gate sent someone, considering the poaching?
It did feel a little weird in the sense of what I got vibes of. I got let's try out people vibes. Let's see what they can do in our ring, and if they look really good, then maybe we whisper in their ear a little bit and whisper sweet nothings. Yeah,
like, you're not going to poach them again, are you? No way.
Right.
I was wondering if it might have been like a make good. So like after the Dragon Dire stuff happens, they were like, okay, we won't use them for Best of Super Juniors. We use one of your guys and we'll put them strongly. So I wonder if there was sort of a bit of politics with Hyo appearing. I mean, that will all go down the shitter if they end up signing Hyo when his contract's up. But yeah, it's just a thought that popped into my head.
Yeah, I just think it's a little, I don't know, it feels a little fresh, but maybe not as, like it's not as jam-packed where you had the years of Will and Ricochet and Kyle O'Reilly and, Kushida at the top of his game. And, those years were pretty fucking amazing. So it's not that level. And it's not like dregs. It's not like, I think we're landing somewhere in the upper comfortability levels. I think it's pretty exciting with a lot of guys that, from CMLL, various indies in Japan. I I find there's like a little breath of fresh air to that. Let's put it this way. It feels different. It doesn't feel like the same, and I say this with a little tongue in my cheek, so please, but it doesn't feel like a flippy-do tournament. You know what I mean? Like it feels a little bit like a lot bit like a real mix of different styles and different. It just feels. I don't know. It's fresh, but it's not fresh. It's. Well, I guess it's fresh. It's fresh. I'm going to say it's fresh.
It's fresh. Certified fresh. Damon says it's fresh.
Yeah, I'm going fresh.
Great. Looking forward to that. Did you say who you think is going to win it or be in the final?
No, I haven't.
I like Francesco Akira. I think he'd be one to keep an eye on.
Yeah. I'm just going through the list.
I'm going to say a Akira Despy final and Akira to win.
Yeah, that might be as good as any, to be honest with you. Might be as good as any.
Great. Fourth match then. Will Ospreay comeback match. Great Khan, Henare and Will Ospreay defeat El Desperado, Yuto Uemura and Taichi. 40 minutes, 54 seconds. Will Ospreay pinning Taichi after the Stormbreaker. Tremendous match. They've got such good chemistry, Ospreay and Taichi. I love the kind of rivalry that they had. They wrestled each other in a Best of the Super Juniors in like 2017, I want to say. And of course, that was very different to the kind of matches they had as heavyweights. But Taichi was kind of like the gatekeeper when Will Ospreay was moving into the heavyweight division. And they've had some really excellent matches, and they picked up where they left off here. I mean, my biggest takeaway from after this was less the Will Ospreay stuff, more like, why the fuck don't they find something meaningful for Taichi to do? Because he's so good, and his promos were so good, where he's talking about how bitter he is that the loyal guys are punished and overlooked, whereas the guys who fuck off to other promotions get the red carpet rolled out to them when they come back, and how frustrated he was about that. And he was just excellent in this match. It makes me sad that we can't find something better for Taichi to do here. But it was just interesting, like when there were the entrances, like huge pop for Ospreay and the crowd getting into Ospreay, and just everyone was buzzing, and you could see how much it meant to Ospreay to be back. He's so happy to be back in New Japan. Like, with him, he's not just doing it for the paycheck. Like, he loves wrestling for New Japan, and I bet he's been counting down the days till he could come back and rest in front of these fans again. And I expect that we'll be seeing a lot more of him in the future. But it was interesting, all that, those red hot vibes and excitement going into the match, just killed absolutely stone dead by Yuto Uemura when he's like grabbing on a headlock and arm drag, shoulder locks. It's like, mate, I love you, Yuto, but read the room here. Come on. And another thing that stood out to me was Henare. He was so powered up by his visit to the Yugoya Ryokan, spending his time. And I want to issue a clarification here, not the Rottenburo, because a Rottenburo is an outdoor onsen with a roof. Now, this one does not have a roof. That means it's a Nottenburo. So the time that Henare spent in the Nottenburo at the Yugoya onsen resort, Ryokan, has made him so powerful that the other wrestler strikes had literally no effect on him. You might notice this, Damon, when El Desperado was hitting Henare as hard as he could, and it just had no effect. So I can only reach the conclusion that Henare is now literally invincible from his time spent at the Yugoya Nottenburo, and just cannot be harmed or let alone defeated or pinned by anyone. So he's got to be my early favourite for G1. He's just going to win everything that he's put in at this point. Just keep an eye on that one, because I think he might actually be immortal now. Really excellent match. Loved it.
He'll be I hear there's a line around the block, right, of pro wrestlers just can't wait to dip their naked balls in that soothing Superman water, the hot spring. Yes, excellent job, excellent. I'm going to say something that might not make people happy, but I'm going to say it anyway. Why? Because that's what we do here. Will Ospreay brings the magic, and he brings the he ups the game of everyone, and he absolutely felt like, ooh, this means something. This match now means more. Like he feels incredibly special. Like I don't want to get on this, I know we are trying to re-energize and rebuild a product here. But he felt like a guy. And I don't know if he ever felt the way that he felt at Sumo Hall last week. His entire run in New Japan, I don't think. Like, he felt like a fucking guy. Which is pretty incredible considering when he started in New Japan and how people were kind of like, gymnastics and all, just all the nonsense, all the usual nonsense that, quite frankly, you hear, Callum Newman and blah, 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 like
Timu Osprey.
Yeah. Like, it feels like very eerily similar, right? Anywho, Osprey was incredible. He really was. Tai Chi and his interactions were great. You're right. Criminally undervalued in his own company, which is a shame. We could book him out of it, but they're never going to do anything that we suggest, so why would we even waste our breath? Hinare looked like a beast. Okan, look, what are you going to do? like, what are you going to do?
Look, the powers of the Notenbaru only go so far.
Right. I mean, look.
They can't work miracles.
Right.
When the guy's checked out, he's checked out. There's only so much you could do there.
What are you going to do? I don't know what you do with the guy at this point, but okay. This whole angle, this whole build, this whole slow burn, I'm not going to lie. I'm in on it. Osprey's playing a great role in this. But yeah, I
had a little post-match angle, didn't we? We had them, Hinare and Okan attacking
stomping
Despy, and we're all at home cheering and celebrating this because of the crimes that Despy has committed to the junior division. So when Osprey's like, did we need to do that? Yes, they did need to do that. Watch the product, Will.
They did. But I also thought that although, again, and I think New Japan does a remarkable job of capturing those little moments, so to speak. I didn't think Will was over the top. Like, it wasn't, and trust me, in the past, in that same moment, 5 years ago, Will Ospreay would have been so over the top. It would have been like, oh my God, everybody would be rolling their eye. No, I thought
he had about 3 years, Damon, of Will Ospreay screaming at the top of his voice every time his opponent worked a body part.
Right. You know what I mean? Like I thought he did very well, like in playing off what are we doing here? What's going on? We don't have to do all that. I thought he played that role rather well. I thought the tag match itself was fantastic. I really did. I thought for what could, again, even if you had Will Ospreay outside of the box here and out of the equation, I still thought the match was excellent. And then you add somebody of Will Ospreay's caliber, who, quite frankly, feels like a real polished pro wrestler. Sorry, I'm in on Will Ospreay.
Hot take.
I know. He's
giving a seal of approval to this young up-and-comer Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
You think he's going to make it big, do you?
He has a future in this business, Joe. But don't you think that just him there on that show elevated not only the match but the show itself?
Oh, absolutely. It imbued it with a much-needed splash of star power, didn't it? After all the people that have left New Japan.
Yeah. And that's not a knock at New Japan, but that is just and that's more of a praise of Will Ospreay. of like how he's grown as a pro wrestler. It really did shine through. Maybe it's absence making the heart grow fonder. Maybe, but like
I do my 2018 bit again of reading out cage match scores.
That was a great bit.
Where's your podcast?
I love Unhinged Joel, my favorite. But yeah, it felt special. Like he felt like he felt much different than when he left. Let's put it that way. And even when he left, he in ring, you didn't doubt it. But I don't know. I don't want to harp on Will Ospreay, but yeah,
why don't you marry Will Ospreay, David? You love him so much. God.
All right, Pee Wee Herman. Why don't you just marry him?
All right, fifth match, never openweight 6-man tag team championship. Champions Yoshihashi, Hiroki Goto, Boltin Oleg, defeating the challengers Chase Owens, Yujiro Takahashi, and Ren Narita. 12 minutes and 8 seconds. Yoshihashi pinned Yujiro following the Shoto. This was really good, actually. I think it exceeded my admittedly low expectations, and I still have my wish for an Oleg Boltin match where he doesn't sell a body part. He did it here. This is just what he does, I guess. Still very good wrestler, still really good match. And again, I said it before, Chase Owens is such a good heel that he can get heel heat by just teasing involvement in the product. And him just coming out and threatening to be just on a show, wrestling a wrestling match in New Japan Pro Wrestling. We're like, this fucking So he's great. Yujiro, he is noticeably working harder this year. There's less heel stuff. There's more proper earnest wrestling. Damon, I'm allowing myself one New Japan Pro Wrestling narrative delusion per calendar year, and I'm using mine this year on the Yujiro defection. I'm choosing to interpret this as Yujiro being the first card to come out of the House of Tortures thing. The rest all kind of fell apart there. But yeah, there we go. And Oleg Boltin will get a never title shot against Ren. So what have we got? So Bishamon, Oleg are going to defend against Henare, Okan, and Ospreay on the second night of Dontaku. And then we also have, what did I just say? Ren and Oleg. Yeah, Ren and Oleg, they are going to face each other on Dontaku Night 1 for the Never title.
Never title, right. Which I would think you're looking at it's either going to be bullshit. I know, hot take here. It's either going to be bullshit or Bolton / Oleg Bolton, Bolton Oleg, tossing fucking Ren and Narita around like a
no,
damn.
It won't. Come on. We know. We know.
Or it's going to be bullshit. Yeah.
Ren's going to win. Oleg's going to be selling a body part. There'll be lots of interference, and we'll get the. It's going to be Aaron Wolf that's going to beat Ren at Dominion.
Probably right. Probably right about that one.
And he'll actually just kill him. He's just going to pick him up,
toss him in the head,
drop him on his head. Yeah,
snap his neck. All right, listen. Small prayers can be answered.
Okay. Then
Are we at war yet, by the way?
What? My microphone! No!
Oh, no. We're at war. I know it. That's what it is.
When's the cut?
I thought it was like 4 o'clock. It is now 5:29.
I thought you said 8 o'clock. That Trump.
I thought he said. You might be 8 o'clock. Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. I think it is. Yeah. I think you're right. Trump says U.S. in heated negotiations as Iran war threat deadline looms. That's the headline, according to CNN. All right. So we're heated negotiations, Joel. Heated negotiations.
The Dragon Dyer stuff was bad. This is not good either.
No, it's not.
Dear me.
All right.
Then the sixth match was the NJPW World TV Championship. Konosuke Takeshita and Shota Umino, as I predicted, going to a 50-minute time limit draw, but it wasn't quite what I wanted. It didn't have it was good, but it didn't have the urgency or the intensity that I wanted with regards to the 15-minute time limit. And I'm kind of blaming Takeshita on that. I know when he started in New Japan, it was just like working 100 miles an hour And it was great. And then I guess someone sort of had a word with him, was like, yo, slow it down a bit, which is fine. But then if we're doing this 15-minute time limit thing, then I think it would stand to reason to work with a bit more pace than this. I don't know if I'm just being fussy here, but it felt a little bit below my expectations.
Yeah, I think you have valid points. I don't think, like, going into this, I probably thought it was going to be a little. Maybe I just was in a wanting mode of, come on, guys, give us a 15-minute fucking sprint. And at times you thought they were going to kick it into the high gear, and maybe they didn't hit every gear they could. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to sit here and point blame, but one, we knew. You even mentioned the draw on the table, the time limit expiring, which I think it was probably the wisest thing to do. Right? Everybody walks out of there feeling a little bit better. I think they have at least another gear in them, and I think that's probably what they're looking to build to a little bit, right?
A rematch seems plausible, if not likely.
All right, and that's not a bad landing spot.
Although Damon, he's got a very dangerous challenger coming up next in the form of Chase Owens.
That's true.
So they're going to be having a huge match on night 2 of Dontaku. Jesus Christ, how did that happen?
Look. There's a reason Chase is around, guys. right? There's a reason Chase is around. You could read into that whatever way you want.
Real quick, the masked man, is that Sanada?
I think so. I thought so. I thought a lot of their masked people were stone cold giveaways. To be honest with you, it might have been the war. There was zero mystery with any of them. I'll explain the Gabe Kidd one in a moment, but yeah, it did feel like that was Sonata. Yeah.
7th match, the IWGP Tag Team Championship, with Knockout Brothers OSKAR and Yuto-Ice successfully defending for the 5th time against Ryohei, Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr.
Great.
22 minutes, 33 seconds. Yuto-Ice pinned Ryohei Oiwa following the Cucurella. It's just incredible to me how Knockout Brothers, from a pair of guys making their comeback from excursion, and now a dependable act for the semi-main event of all these big shows, that they can just rely on them to. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to quantify how much of effect they're having on the crowd, but just in terms of match quality, they are just knocking it out the park each time. Yeah. And I particularly enjoyed this. We spotted a few times a wild Fraser Japan in the front row.
Yes.
Which put a big smile on my face.
Very sharp, looking very sharp in his black tight. He's very fit. Oh, my Lord.
We had some great sequences between Zack Sabre Jr. and OSKAR. I thought they had really good chemistry. I would like them to be in the same block for a G1 climax. And just the Zack control periods are so good. And OSKAR's selling, I thought, was great as well. There was real drama with the sequence with the rope break and constantly cutting off of the tags. But the real story, the real spotlight for this match, it was Yuto-Ice, wasn't it? I mean, it was all about him in the end. And the story being him and his injured arm, and the way he sold that arm. Like, commentary did a tremendous job too. And Oiwa showing renewed ruthlessness in working over that arm. But essentially, like, I felt that Oiwa was a vehicle for Yuto-Ice's babyface fighting spirit here. Like, his energy of fighting through the pain, that spot where he's just ramming his arm into the turnbuckle, like not no selling it, but showing that, that mix of emotions, like, this really hurts, but I'm going to power through it, because I've always said about Yuto-Ice that he's a babyface in heel packaging, right? He's more heart than brains. And I think this early on in his career, he's just got it. He's got that innate ability to work the crowd and get them on side and understand the pacing and the dynamics of the match he's in to make the most and maximize those crowd reactions. So I thought the whole match was a real showcase of Yuto-Ice and made him feel like a star in a big spot, right? This is the semi-main event of Sakura Genesis Sumo Hall. This is a really big spot, and they chose to build a whole thing around Yuto-Ice and showcasing his heart and his guts and his determination, which I thought was a really interesting choice because in a lot of ways, he's, if you look at him, he's like this kind of chubby, dough-faced wrestler, and he's not that spectacular like in terms of his movesets, but he just gets it. He's got that feel for pro wrestling and is able to leverage all of that and do all the right things at the right moments to get the crowd on the edge of their seats and get them living or dying by everything that he does. And I'm just so impressed with him this early on that his commanded his mastery of the crowd dynamics here. It was just a really excellent showcase of him here.
I feel like he's a great example of a guy where the company gets out of their own way and just lets them do whatever they feel, not whatever, but I'm sure there's some guardrails, but whatever it is that they feel they need to do. Like it almost feels like, all right, we're going to put you as a tag team. We're going to, you guys were out on an excursion together. We're going to keep you together, bring you in, and, away you go. And it feels at least very hands off from the company wise anyway. And then they instantly, and I don't mean instantly, but like very quickly find their groove and find what they want to do. And it's kind of like the company, I'm not saying just kind of like woke up one morning and said, what the fuck we got here? But it does feel like they weren't involved in the process of getting these guys to the point where they are right now. I feel like there's a lot of them and the company staying out of their way and then saying, well, looky here. Look at this. Look at what we got. And that's pretty awesome. And I wish they would do that more if that's the case. Like, just stay out of the way a little bit. Trust the talent. Now, sometimes things go off the rails, right? And you're just like, what in the fuck is this? What's happening here, right? Guys go into business for themselves. Guys just kind of, again, you wind up with promos that like, what do you mean this, that, just going off the fucking rails. We all know what that means. But sometimes you fucking strike oil. You fucking hit gold. And that's these two. What a team. Out of nowhere. What a team. Match was great. Zack was awesome. Zack, that spot where Oscar's in that I don't know, crossface fucking whatever. Zack's got him locked in. He's crawling to the ropes. And at the same time, Ice is outside, but he's tied up and he can't fucking. That was epically great. Yeah. Look, they sometimes it just letting wrestlers do their shit, do who they feel they need to be is really the best method. And yeah, sometimes it fucking you wind up with this piece of your promotion that's catching fire every fucking show. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the buzz gets out and the buzz gets out and the buzz grows. Like, that's a good thing. Sometimes I wish they would do that for a lot more people, to be honest with you. But this team doesn't need a lot of hand-holding, it feels like. It feels like they kind of know what they want to be. They kind of know what they want to project. And in the ring, it works. And that's really the bottom line, right? The crowd connection and them in the ring. So, home fucking run. And again, I love the fact that this is a nice established title run. And makes things even more exciting. Like, we have a very similar situation like we had with the juniors, in the sense of we have some really fun heavyweight tag teams that you can just fucking rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. It's really good. They might be. We talked about Yo and Show being probably the biggest disappointment in 5 years. You got to put Knockout Brothers as like top 3 biggest surprises, I would say.
Yeah, it's going to be fun watching all the doubters eventually have to dig their heels out of the sand and be like, "Oh no, actually they're getting better," even though
who hates them?
Not getting better. They've already they're as good as they ever were.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's all. It's always fun and gratifying to me when that happens. But I was quite surprised that they won, actually, because I was just thinking of it in terms of I didn't think that they'd have Oiwa having another big defeat here, because again, he's just become a specialist in failure where it comes with the tag division. Right. So I was surprised. I thought, oh well, he's going to get his win back here, because they lost at New Year Dash and he lost in the New Japan Cup.
Yeah.
Oh no, who did he face? No, he wrestled. He wrestled Zack, didn't he?
Yeah.
I'm getting myself mixed up now. But point being, I thought, oh well, he'll get the win this time, but he didn't, and I think that's really good that they resisted the temptation to do the parity booking and just thought, no, this is the hot team. We're going to deal the hot hands and stick with Knockout Brothers, who just feel like a real commodity at the moment. So they've got some challenges coming up. So it's Bishamon and Holy Seaman Army. They're the number 1 contender. So they are going to have a number 1 contenders match on the 20th of April. And then the winner of that match will face Knockout Brothers on the 25th of April.
Okay. Well, again, rinse and repeat, really right?
Yeah, I don't know. Do I think, could either of those teams dethrone Knockout Brothers?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Hanare is invincible, so we need to take that into account.
Right. That's unfair.
They would have to get him out of the ring somehow and sort of tie him up, delay him long enough so that they can pin Great Khan, which shouldn't be that difficult, to be honest.
I mean, any of those teams you could easily slide in there, right? And again, here we have a situation. Number 1 contenders match now means something. People are going to be amped up and juiced for it. So, yeah, it's. Here's the thing, Joe. It's simple pro wrestling booking, but that's what they're doing, and wow, what a joy, right? We care about the fucking tag titles. We would like to win said titles. Oh, okay. We got to determine who's a better team to challenge. Great, let's do that. Winner goes on to challenge a team that's on a hot streak. I mean, that's fantastic pro wrestling.
Main event, IWGP Heavyweight Championship match. Callum Newman, the challenger and New Japan Cup winner, defeating the champion Yota Tsuji 24 minutes 17 seconds via his new finisher, Make Way. I loved that they brought back the title fanfare video with the previous champions. I loved having Tanahashi doing the match declaration in the ring, and even just having all the United Empire guys in their suits ringside. Just all of that pageantry imbued this match with a sense of gravitas and importance. Now, admittedly, that was undercut each time Jake Lee was in the frame with his silly clown face paint. But I'll allow it. He put the suit on. So, but that was really good. Just those little things like that made this match feel like a big deal. And having Will Ospreay ringside there as well. And I was a bit worried about him being ringside, that I thought it would distract from the match. And I get, right, that is the story, right? He is, I understand that. But there's a fine balance in weighing that up, but also not making Yota Tsuji defending the title become a sideshow. And I thought they actually managed that really well. There were some fantastic spots in this match, like the curb stomp off the apron. And essentially, like, the story being Callum crashing and burning every time Ospreay told him to do something. So Ospreay's like, I'll do the Oscar, use my move. And then, he ate shit as a result of that. And I thought Callum sold it really well after that. He was like all dazed. He kind of went into autopilot. It was an interesting choice of match dynamics, which, because I was thinking, okay, so Callum's like on the back foot here and Tsuji's dominating, which I didn't think it was going to be like that. But that led really smartly into the tide turning in the match with the ref bump where Yota Tsuji curb stomped Red Shoes, which was extremely funny. I like that. And then we got the bit of melodrama with Callum Newman getting the chair from Alex Zane and Ospreay trying to stop him, saying, "Oh, don't do this. No, you can do it by yourself, please." Which, it was a subtlety hammer bigger than the one that David Finlay used to smash up the US title a couple of years ago. It was very melodramatic, but I felt it was well earned. I thought it was an appropriate escalation given the narrative setup of the match. So I was okay with that. I'd be the first person to call out Yankoid melodrama, or Brit-Rest melodrama in this case. But the fact that it was contained to the middle of the match and didn't interfere with the business end of the match, I thought was very well done. And I continue to, even though I've been flying the flag for Callum Newman basically since last year's Don Taku, he continues to impress me, and he really laid in the strikes here with such venom, and the crowd were getting behind him, which was interesting. I'm pretty sure I heard some "Let's go Callum" chants. The way he bumps, he just makes his opponent look like killers. He drives his head right into the mat for that Marlow crash bump. He just like almost went diagonal. And just his execution, like the way he can execute counters with such speed and ferocity as well. Like there's a real sense of violence behind it. And I notice he's taking his time with the bigger spots. Again, I wonder if someone's got in his ear and told him just kind of slow it down a bit. Like when he did the Prince's Curse, he got some real hang time on that one. He was like holding it in the air for a good few seconds, which stretched out the drama for it. So in the end, he did it his own way. He kicked Tsuji in the balls, didn't he? So and won it not clean. It was not a clean finish, but they didn't go for the obvious narrative beat of having Ospreay costing him the match, because we did have the bit where Ospreay saying, "Don't use a chair," and then Callum reluctantly agrees and then turns around and eats a face full of what was it? He got
spear, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. But I thought, okay, is that going to be a story? Are we going to be sort of doing it today, having the Ospreay Callum conflict? But they didn't. So we had Callum Newman winning it his own way, using his cheating tactics. And I don't know, like, did Will Ospreay not notice that, or he's realised, oh, actually he cheated, but he got the job done, so I'm just not going to say anything for now. So yeah, I know some people have called out the inconsistency there, but I do think that's part of the story that will come out in the wash, as they continue to tell. I've got faith in them. I believe in both of these guys that they're going to tell the story in an interesting and compelling way, and it's going to have a satisfying payoff. And I'd rather there were, like I said last week, some twists and turns rather than just playing it completely straight. We all know what's going to happen in the end. It is going to lead to an Ospreay and Newman match, which is going to be spectacular. Like, you imagine the sicko shit that the pair of those two are going to come up with. But there we go. We had the youngest ever IWGP champion, and I think we worked stiff last week. They made a really great case for Callum winning. I mean, I could see it happening. We talked about it last week. I didn't think it would happen, but I think to some extent Tsuji was protected as it wasn't a clean finish. But whilst I was surprised by this, I wasn't stunned. And again, this is supporting something I've been saying for a while with Callum Newman. I'm just glad that New Japan are learning from the mistakes that they've made in the past with their foreign wrestlers and maximizing usage of these guys before they leave, because they are going to leave, right? Callum Newman is going to leave. We all accept that. But he is good enough now. So let's make the most of it now while he's on this 3-year deal, or however long it is, to make some money with him, have great matches, and use him to help elevate a whole crop of guys and help tell some great stories. Let's not drag our feet just because we know he's going to leave. Like, that's, I keep saying, part of the pro wrestling ecosystem. So outstanding match, and I think a very I suppose time will tell whether or not it was the right move, but it's an exciting move for sure.
Yeah, and I have to praise, as much as we sit here and we wag our finger at a lot of New Japan's booking decisions. I have to praise them on this because it is a little bit risky. He is the youngest IWGP champion. There's a lot at stake, but they went in on Callum Newman, like 2026. They stepped on the gas, and they again made room for luck, and they made room for a guy to grow, and at the same time be front and center in this company. Like, that's risky. That takes a little bit of guts, and they showed the guts to do that. Now, there might be people that are out there that are like, how can this guy be the champion of the company, and how can this guy be the front face of the company, and all of it.
People have got feelings about this one, Damon.
That's fine. That's fine. But know that that's a good thing, because what you're questioning is New Japan's decision to have guts. Could they go back to the same old? Sure. Yep. But the goal here is that we have a guy that is barely able to drink alcohol that they trust to be somebody in this company. And it's not a tired, same old. Look, sometimes you got to roll the dice. And is this a dice roll? To a certain degree, it is. But also, you have to be somewhat strategic in the sense of, it's not like we're just rolling the dice off of some Northeast independent pro wrestler that they brought. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, this is not Nick Nemeth, is it? It's...
right, or right. Like, there's something there, and I think everyone can admit it. Now, is now the time? Okay, there's conversations to be had about that, but make no mistake about it, Callum Newman absolutely is going to, let me be clear. Right now, he's more than capable of being in the position that he's in right now. And he's going to improve and get better and grow into this role as well. Like, just think about that. Like, this is not a finished product. This is not it. This is an NHLer in their second season. This is a baseball player coming off of a Rookie of the Year season, going into his second season, and you're now, okay, you set a bar. Now, can you beat that and be better? Like, this is an exciting time. This is not a person who is at the tail end, or even like the apex of their career. This guy's still like in an upward trajectory. Like, that's got to be exciting. Like, you got to feel that kind of, okay, this is exciting. Now, add to that all the other young stars that they have. Include Tsuji in that mix. Include Shota. Include Yuya. Go down the list. Like, we're positioning ourselves. We gave a guy the New Japan Cup, and we gave him our big boy belt. Like, that is a ballsy move. But again, this is a blue chip stock. Like there's no question about that. You can question if he's ready. But also look at what the fuck New Japan took a risk. And I love it. I love the fact that they did that. Love it. And you're right, Joel. Not for nothing. There was a little bit of a sense of the pageantry of it made it feel more special. Now, again, could have easily, the pageantry aside, let's now focus on the finish and Will Ospreay's involvement. Trust me, Will Ospreay before you know that could have gone completely over the top. And everything that you mentioned of, he could have been looking at his hands, you know what I mean?
Covering Tsuji's body, whilst weeping, saying, "No, Callum, don't do it."
Right. This could have gone completely over the fucking top. And it didn't. Now, again, your mileage may vary. I thought it was exceptionally well done. And I think it was the right move to not squeeze 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
Yes, because I was wondering, are they going to do the turn post-match? I was glad that they didn't, because a lot of stuff already happened. Right. I forgot to mention the Gabe Kidd thing. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, enough had happened. I'm glad that they kept their powder dry. Because again, we all know it's coming, but I like the way, I just want them to drag it out and teasing us.
Yes. They didn't shove everything in. They let it breathe. They let it fucking breathe. And I think that was incredibly smart. Look, there's been plenty of times where, again, we can wag our finger at New Japan Pro Wrestling. I truly believe they hit a home run here. They really did. And again, I like the risk taking. I like the ballsy move of it. And this is not to say Tsuji's out of the mix by any stretch of the imagination. He absolutely is still 1,000% in the mix. But we've made ourselves a star. We did. And a star that is still not at its brightest. That, to me, is exciting.
I'm just happy that we can discuss the relative merits of equally interesting options rather than having the usual existential crisis debate about the state and direction of the company.
Right.
This is good. These are the sorts of things we should be talking about. And from what I understand, from what I hear, this is just a case of people stepping back and just letting Gedo cook, letting him do his thing. And again, for people who pay attention, this has been on the card since last year's G1, when some people were just hand-waving all these little changes about Callum's style and his presentation and his promos and his booking. But we noticed this shit, Damon. This is important. And I think it's a big mask-off moment for the so-called fans who are clearly just scrolling on TikTok on their phones during the matches and only paying attention to the closing stretch and formulating their opinions based on the Yankoid populist consensus. And we've got a question, and Captain Gonzo says, yeah, all these could have, should have been guys, but Callum gets the rocket up his ass. At least this is some reassurance Jake Lee doesn't see another IWGP main event. I forgot to phrase this in the form of a question. Is Callum the break glass in case of emergency champion? And no, I do not see it like that at all. They've been building towards this since even before the G1, even when they picked Callum Newman to be the fill-in challenger after Jeff Cobb walked out at Dontaku, and everyone was like, what? Callum Newman? What is going on here? And I was surprised, but you see the vision now. I wonder if they were thinking about this even back then. And I'm sure there's been a lot of moving parts, and this has been expedited by the number of wrestlers that have left the company, but there is clear intentionality in it if you are paying attention to what you're watching. And naturally, this has upset a lot of people. It's very divisive, and that is inevitable when you make bold booking choices like this. And it mainly seems to be Western fan reaction. I've not really seen much controversy in terms of the domestic fans, but it's amongst the Western fans, it's ranged from what I think are some understandable concerns to just outright derangement. Some of the stuff I've seen popping up on my timeline is just completely unhinged. So let's just unpick some of these concerns.
What is the biggest complaint?
I'll go through them, Damon. I've got a list of. Well, I'm trying to remember. So the first one being people who expected a long Yota Tsuji reign, and I get that. I understand why people felt that was necessary for this New Japan rebuild process. But again, I just think this is people who are not really tuned into Gedo booking tropes, because a wrestler's first reign doesn't tend to be the definitive one. Even in recent history, the pattern. And this is right. Came up in discussion. This is almost identical to the Ibushi Ospreay transition in 2021. There are so many examples where it goes this way. You said the Naito reign, Jay White, Ospreay's first reign, even like AJ Styles' reign. And again, I do understand. I'm not going to completely handwave this one about people who think this is going to hurt Yota Tsuji by losing this soon, but I don't think it does. And I get why some people wanted him to be champion for longer than this, or maybe all year, but there's a perception, and I think it's largely a misguided one, that a short title reign is a bad one, that it can only be a good, useful title reign that helps the wrestler if it's like a year long, which is something, certain bookers are really wedded to that pattern. And also the school of thought that, there's very little value to anything unless it's a guy holding the world title, that nothing that Yota Tsuji does now is useful and good for him because he's not the champion anymore. Like, it's either the 2017 Okada reign or the guy's a jobber, I mean, I'm being a bit facetious there, but I think it's important to remember within pro wrestling that the title belt it's a prop, isn't it? It's not the entire narrative. It's part of it for sure. It's an important part. It's a motivation, but I just feel it's a misunderstanding among a lot of fans that losing the title means that a wrestler's story grinds to a halt and that they're straight in the bin. As if like the most interesting stories in New Japan Pro Wrestling haven't been all about tragic failure, right? And people blowing it when everyone expected them to win and losing and going home in tears and things like that. We all know what the examples are, and I think this is arguably more interesting for Yota Tsuji because he's not fully formed. I think he's probably more well formed than a lot of his contemporaries, but maybe this could be better and more interesting for him than having a dominant Okada reign, which might be good for Yota Tsuji, but it doesn't help anyone else apart from him. Because lest we forget, Damon, all the people that left, we need to elevate a whole crop of guys here, not just one guy.
Right. I think that's the key. Like, it can't just be one person. Because when that one person leaves, you wind up in the same fucking situation that we were in. Yota Tsuji is 30. Is he 30 or a little bit older? Maybe a little bit older, right? Let me 32. 32 years of age. So he's, in pro, people like to say when you hit your 30s, that's when you really start to things come together, right? Things fall into place. So he's on the early end of his 30s, 32. So does he still have a little bit more to grow? Does he still have, not physically, but like being pro wrestler? Like this is not the final form, I don't think. Look, I hear you. Those people who think that a long reign means you establish yourself as a guy. I hear you. Because, again, we sat here and talked about the tag situation, how great it is that 6 title defense, 7 title defense. But understand where the fucking tag titles were at that time. Like we're establishing that by a sense of dominance. I get that. Here, in the heavyweight championship world, we need multiple. We need multiple stars, right? For that belt to kind of mean what it needs to be. Look, I don't think by any stretch of the imagination we have reached Yota Tsuji's final form, and we have reached the him losing is not like fucking Togi Makabe losing, right? We're not down cycling anyone here. And in fact, we're trying to make the guy a long-term thing. At the same time, we still have to establish other people. Relax. I get it. Know what I feel like it is, Joel, and I could be dead wrong, but you tell me if I'm even close to being in the ballpark. It's a white guy winning the fucking title.
Yeah, I think that is a huge part of it.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of noise coming from like the stylistic critics who don't like what I've seen referred to as Ospreyism. Like they basically have looked at Callum and think that this is like a 2016 Will Ospreay clone, and just silly things like micro-analyzing GIFs of him doing an elbow strike to see whether he connected cleanly. Like, they're going through the fucking Zapruder footage. Right. Guess what? Most professional wrestling spots will fall apart under that degree of insane scrutiny, right? And there are degrees to it, sure, but I don't have any issues with how any of the moves landed. I thought the execution was great, and the people picking at this didn't watch the match, and they're just doing a bad faith GIF autopsy. Or I've seen people just posting screenshots of him with a belt and just criticizing the way he looks, or saying that the belt looks big on just ridiculous things that make me laugh. And I've really enjoyed looking at it because it's absolutely mental, but there's no value to analyzing any of that particular critique.
Yeah, I mean, again, I if you think that he's not ready now, I think you have a valid argument. But I'm excited to have a guy in his early 20s get a shot. And again, let's make. I absolutely am in love with that Voices of Wrestling quote, and make room for luck. I think that was really like just fucking bullseye, because sometimes you don't know what you got until you let them loose. We're rebuilding here, and I couldn't be more excited.
I know there's also people who don't like that kind of melodrama and the interference, and they judge it as if it's all on par with like Dick Togo and the Garrote Wire, and that just feels sometimes that heels cheating is only bad when it happens in New Japan and gets a pass when it happens in other promotions.
It's happened in the entire history.
I know. I mean, I get, like, if you're the sort of person who wants all of your matches to be clean, fine. Just make sure you keep that same energy when discussing all the other wrestling promotions that do it and all the wrestling that's happened for, the last 50 years.
Like within the New Japan Pro Wrestling. I mean, throughout the fucking history of the fucking company. I mean, what was it? The Gasper brothers? Like fucking look up the Gasper brothers in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, by all means, just give that a little fucking Google search, and your head's going to explode. Like, and that was in the middle of Inoki being the biggest star in the fucking country, and Tatsumi Fujinami, and Riki Choshu, and all of that. Like, go back there, and there's a place for that in pro wrestling. There really is. There is. All right, whatever. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I just can't help myself, David, because I'm just addicted to looking at all these insane. I doing big exaggerated air quotes analysis of the match. I saw a tweet from someone who was extremely mad that Ospreay made it all about himself. Well done, 50 points to Gryffindor. You understood the story of this wrestling angle. We'll get you a spot on the next episode of We Work Stiff. And again, there's the inconsistency of the chair moment, but that's the story, isn't it? Right? We're going to see that. That will be explained, I'm sure, and justified. There are people that are upset that Callum won the title before guys like Yuya or Shota or Oiwa. And again, I do understand that. That's a statement. It is shocking. And you might think, like, how has he got this before any of those other young guys? But I would say he made himself undeniable. I think he has shown more than those guys. You said you understand criticisms that he's not ready. I don't. I think he is clearly ready. I don't know what I'm looking at to say he's not ready yet, because to me he can do everything at a very young age. And I know, having just this label on him now as the youngest ever IWGP champion, that's a huge statement of intent, not just for Callum Newman himself, right? You've got to look beyond that and try and not just analyze it from the perspective of they've put this huge accolade on a guy who's going to leave the company or is, somehow less than compared to the people who've come before him. But just think about the message that sends for, like, the whole current ethos of New Japan Pro Wrestling, because it grabs attention. It sends a message to young up-and-coming wrestlers all over the planet, whether they're foreign or Japanese or whatever. It's a stark contrast to the other major promotions where the world title holders are significantly older. Look at something like WWE. Cody is he's 40 years old. And again,
the
right?
entire roster's 40 years old.
New Japan Wrestling had Hiroki Goto as the world champion less than a year ago. But again, I just think this is like, if you're a talented young wrestler now, and you've got two offers on the table, you've got a New Japan Pro Wrestling offer, maybe for less money, and a slightly more lucrative NXT developmental deal. What are you thinking now, having just seen what's happened at Sakura Genesis? Are you going to go and do years of, running the ropes and looking at the hard cam training? And if you're lucky, you might get onto the main roster and get swallowed up into the miasma of the mid card and not get a sniff at a main event? Or do you bet on yourself and go and test yourself in Japan, in New Japan Pro Wrestling, where for all their faults, I think by and large it is a genuine meritocracy. I do believe that. And if you're really as good as you think you are, then you can become a star, maybe even before you've hit your mid-20s. And then later on, you could go and wrestle for the Yankee companies, but doing that after you've made a name for yourself and doing it on your own terms. And I think putting this title on Callum Newman, it's more than just a benefit for Callum Newman. I think it's a really smart move that might just help New Japan get the edge over their rivals when it comes to foreign talent acquisition, which, as we know, is becoming increasingly challenging these days.
Right. That's an excellent point, actually. That is an excellent point in the sense of, yeah, it does open up the idea and the possibility of others. And once again, like the people, why hasn't Yuya gotten that? Why hasn't Shota? Why hasn't why Callum? Like, okay, compared to what? Like what are we comparing here? Like, why does one deserve it more than the other at this point? Because to me, like, he's been given an opportunity and he's run with it. Like, I see opportunities given to other people and they fumbled, right? And now you can blame them, you can blame the company, you can blame whoever, but it didn't work. Here's all I ask. January 6th. Tell me how you feel about all this. Because guess what? We could be wrong, right? We could be. And this could go fucking tits up, and we're just like, we're worse off than we were before. Could that happen? Yeah, could. I don't see that happening, but okay, it could. But like the day after Sakura Genesis, you're gonna chime the bells of doom? Like, come on, have a little faith, have a little fun with this, have a little excitement, have a little like let's dream a little bit. Like, let's let luck land. How about that? How about that? And then you tell me on January 6th, are you happy or not? And then we figure it out from there. I'm not going to sit here and guarantee, because who knows? The world's a wacky place. Well, we could be obliterated in about 2 hours. Who knows, right? We might not even be here to talk about it. But let's see where we stand January 6th, because I think we're going to be better because of what's the saying? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. That's where we are.
And I think we all acknowledge that he's benefited from the exodus of talent from the company, that New Japan Pro Wrestling feels that it needs to have a top foreign heel at any given time. But I don't think that means this has been accelerated beyond his talent level, right? If they felt he wasn't worthy of being a world champion, he wouldn't be a world champion. You know, David Finlay was with that company for God knows how long and was the top foreign heel, and they didn't put the world title on him because they didn't see the value in it. All right, so they're not doing it out of it's default thing that the
White guy,
foreign leader of the
right.
heel faction has to do it. That's not how it works, and time has shown that. Now there is a pattern of guys that have won it, but again, if we're looking at guys like AJ Styles and Kenny Omega and Jay White and Will Ospreay, they are all exceptional, generational talent. So I don't think this is just like, he's just the next white guy in line.
And Joel, let's be honest here with Kenny, at least. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but he putzed around in the fucking juniors, shoving things up Taguchi's ass and fucking, and playing with fucking, fire extinguishers and cooling agents and bullshit for quite a while. So it's not like he just fucking parachuted in and took a title.
I think most of the noise, I suspect, is just coming from a subsection. Maybe it's the sort of purist fans who've got a very fixed idea of what New Japan should be, but are also not watching it at all, right? People who don't watch and have just decided that, like you said, they've decided Callum is bad, not because they've watched him wrestle, but just because he's foreign or British and associated with Ospreay. And that lot, they're just going to do bad faith criticism, whatever happens. Honestly, I've got no interest in engaging with that. I think some of those concerns were worth unpicking, and we had some interesting conversations as a result of that. But the people who watch the least are often the noisiest critics. Like, they just feel the need to comment on it just because it's the exciting, dramatic thing that's happened. And people feel the need to express opinions on things, even if they have no knowledge on it. And it's the same crash outs that happened when Jay White won the title, or when Ospreay won the title, when Zack won the title. It's just, this is... People are talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I'll take that. I think that's a good thing. But, Damon, we are skipping over the biggest controversy here.
Go ahead.
Andrew says, why is the Super J-Cast not addressed the conspiracy that Callum Newman is secretly 30 years old? I don't know if you saw that one.
He's secretly what?
30 years old. They don't believe that he's 23.
I'll tell you what. So... that was the worst. That was absolutely the worst. Oh, who is this mystery guy? And you know what it was, Joe? It was the Stone Island badge, baby. he was hooliganing it up, wasn't he? Like he was Sakura Genesis in the afternoon and West Ham away at night. I was like, that was the first thing I saw. Where you got the badge out. I was like, well, of course.
Are you talking about the run-in?
Yes.
No, I'm talking about Callum Newman. There are people who don't believe that Callum Newman.
I thought you said Gabe
is
Kidd.
23 years old. Sorry, maybe I did say Gabe Kidd. If I did, I sorry, I misspoke. But that Callum Newman is secretly 30 years old. I've not seen the genesis of that, but there are some people who think that he's pretending to be younger than he actually is. And at that point, I thought, you know what, that's enough Twitter.com for one day. But yeah, no, let's move on to that Gabe beatdown. Because I'll tell you what, when I saw it, when I saw he did a package pile driver, I was like, oh, fuck, it's Chase Owens again. I thought it's Chase Owens challenging for another singles title, putting a mask on for some reason. So when he took the mask off and I saw it was Gabe Kidd, I was like, oh, thank fuck it's Chase Owens. Just because the fact they did a pile driver, I got scared.
No, I saw it. That was literally the first thing my eyes hit. I was like, that's a fucking... Yeah. I mean, trust me, I saw enough of it at fucking Oasis. I knew what it was. And I was like, oh, it's fucking Gabe Kidd. And who else is going to have that? Fucking hooligan. And then, obviously, it was. He rips off the fucking, whatever, the outer layer, and it reveals an AEW t-shirt, Joe.
That was great. I've got to give it to him there. That was brilliant. But my complaint is he should have done that a year ago. Right? It's too late now. Although it was well executed, and I'm glad he sort of figured out where his spot is. And I don't know what this is contractually. Like, is he dual contract now? I don't know. But whilst I appreciate in one sense that it's giving Yota Tsuji something to do and, defend the honor of the company, I'm just not that interested in Gabe Kidd anymore. And I'm certainly not interested in Gabe Kidd versus Yota Tsuji anymore, because we saw it 3 times last year. So I just feel that particular well has run dry. I do think there is value to Gabe Kidd, especially doing this very one-dimensional AEW fanboy thing. And actually, I say one-dimensional. He does make some valid points in the promo, saying that other people have done it, but you've not given them any shit. Why is it me that gets the flack for it? And there
Well,
is something
I
to
mean-
that. But I just, yes, I mean, obviously the tub thumping Oiwa Shin Nihon, that's why, Gabe. But I would just prefer to see him putting over people like Shota or Yuya or Oiwa or Oleg or Yuto-Ice. I don't know why we're going straight back to Yota Tsuji when I've seen enough of that personally.
Well, because he does have a title, right? So again, it's not like he's beltless, titleless. He still has that global title. I like the fact that, in hindsight, it's pretty great that he was able to lose one and keep the other. So yeah, I mean, and it's they already have a little built-in feud already. It's not like we have to let that die. Look, I think Gabe Kidd is extremely valuable, and unfortunately, the light isn't as bright as it once was or could have been, and for a myriad of reasons that we've discussed quite often and quite a lot in the past year. But okay, I think there's also something to be said about the fact that he does have that flexibility to kind of come and go as he pleases. It feels like so. It's not like Tony Khan is, going to be too upset having him go away for a couple weeks and come back and what have you. It does seem like a slam dunk that Gabe would be in G1 and be a easily slotted in AEW representative. So yeah, but to me, it cracked me up, like him coming out with that fucking outfit, and I was just like, "Gabe Kidd, hooligan." But yeah, I mean, and here's the thing: now they're fighting over the secondary belt, the white belt, if you will, which again keeps Yota Tsuji in the mix. Now we have Gabe Kidd involved. Yeah, I didn't hate this at all. I didn't hate it.
I quite enjoyed the Shingo stuff post-match as well. I think he's a low-key comedic genius where he was getting in the ring and then rolling out the ring, then getting back in the ring again. He's very funny. He's got kind of like dad jokes energy to him. So he is the next challenger, Shingo Takagi. So for the Dontaku Night 2. So Night 1, I think the main event is Kid versus Tsuji for the global title. And then Night 2, it's Callum Newman versus Takagi. And we kind of touched on that one already. But I just liked all the poses at the end with Callum Newman and all the United Empire guys, and then Jake Lee with his clown makeup. And
I know.
Will on the Discord said, when your custom character is in the cutscene, that tickled me. That's exactly the sort of energy that Jake Lee was building. So yeah, we got some matches announced coming up for the Dontaku tour. So starting on the 19th of April, we've got some special tag matches: OSKAR and Robbie X versus Fujita and Hartley Jackson, Robbie Eagles and Ryohei Oiwa against Yuto-Ice and Taiji Ishimori. So some kind of mixed weight division tag matches should be really good there. On the 20th, we've got the IWGP Tag Number 1 Contenders match between Bishamon and the Holy Seaman Army. 24th, we've got the Yuto Emra Homecoming. So that's going to be Don Farley, Ren Narita, and Yujiro versus Oleg, Yuya, and Aaron Wolf. 25th, we've got the Knockout Brothers versus the winner of the number 1 Contenders match for the IWGP Tag titles. And then the Junior Tag titles as well, with Ichiban Sweet Boys against Ishimori and Robbie X. On the 29th, now this is an interesting one. Mystico is joining the tour.
Ooh.
So, I'm really surprised about that one. Nice, pleasant surprise. And we've also got DOUKI against Tiger Mask for the junior title. And then night 1 of Dontaku, we've got Takeshita and Will Ospreay will be on the card, yet to be announced. So they will be on the card, but we don't know what they're going to be doing yet. Don Farley against Aaron Wolf, Oleg Boltin against Ren Narrative for the Never title, Gabe Kidd versus Yota Tsuji for the global title, and then night 2 of Dontaku on the 4th of May, we've got Chase Owens versus Takeshita for the world's TV title, Bishamon and Oleg versus Henare, Okan and Ospreay for the Never Six-Mans, and then Callum Newman versus Shingo for the heavyweight title. So, as is usually the case on this Dontaku tour, it's like one really good card spread across
Thin, yeah.
7 shows. So
one pat of butter spread across 4 slices of bread. Right.
Yeah.
I wish they wouldn't do that, but again, we all know why we're doing that. But I mean, there's lots of stuff to sink your teeth into there, right? And again, we'll get more into it as we preview those shows. But I think we're in a good spot. I really do. And again, I'm pretty notorious for being, if it's negative, I'm going to be fucking loud. And even sometimes when it's positive, I'm not as loud. But I'm excited where we are, man. I really am. And I think we're set up for a good summer, G1, and then before you know it, I know we're talking about it's fucking April 7th, but before you know it, man, it's going to be Wrestle Kingdom season.
I knew you were going to say that. That's preposterous to say that in April, David.
It's going to happen before you know it, dude. We're all getting older, and time flies. So it's April, but you're going to blink your eye, and then it's going to be Christmas season, and then boom, away we go. Just wait.
All right, the podcast's finished now. Piss off.
Hi, I'm Andrew Rich, and if you're like me, you look at the state of modern wrestling discourse and think, wow, what a cesspool. That's why I'm here to tell you about Music of the Mat Remix. That's right, your favorite wrestling music podcast is back with a new format, where I bring on a guest and we play songs related to wrestling-themed topics. It could be a wrestling reference, a wrestling concept, a wrestling pun, things of that nature. Now you might be saying, Andrew, that is a very, very tenuous connection to pro wrestling on a wrestling podcast network. Is this just an excuse to hang out with your friends and talk about music and ignore the rest of the wrestling landscape? Yes. Yes, it is. So listen to Music of the Mat Remix on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, available on Apple, Spotify, or your podcast player of choice.